And Mr. Toastmaster, I have a correction.
Oh.
The icebreaker is a 4 to 6 minute speech.
Oh, thank you.
So the cues will be at 4, 5, and 6 for you, Al.
Thank you for that correction.
So Alfred Hitchcock once said, movies are like life with the boring bits taken out. My hope here is to tell you my life in movies with the boring bits cut out, because it's under 6 minutes. I was born and raised in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and if you are a Billy Joel fan, you'll know the song of the same name. And when I was growing up, there were factories leaving the area like Mack Trucks and Bethlehem Steel. But Allentown, Pennsylvania is located directly in between New York City and Philadelphia. And that makes for some great television watching, twice as many choices as New York. So when I was a kid, I had a lot of choices. But my favorites were like Bugs Bunny, Three Stooges, Speed Racer, those kinds of shows. And when I got into my teens, then I started really enjoying MTV. I watched a lot of MTV when I was a kid. My parents opened up a video store, and then I started to get into movies. I was working at their video store, and I started watching a lot of films like Mel Brooks and the Marx Brothers and Woody Allen. But I also had two older brothers, and my oldest brother got me into the Beatles and the Stones, and my other brother got me into punk rock, and so music became an obsession for me. Well, I started combining the two, especially after watching movies like The Yellow Submarine and Pink Floyd's The Wall. I really wanted to get into sound for film. And so I chose to pursue a career in sound for film. I moved up to New York City, and I studied audio engineering. And after I got my diploma, I worked for a film lab in their sound department. And I worked on a lot of popular films, you've probably seen them, but I also did some freelance jobs on the side doing some audio production, and those you'll never see. There was one film that I worked on. It was about a young boy and his sister growing up with their father, who was a Vietnam War veteran. My role in the film was to do the Foleys, which are the sounds that you hear but aren't recorded on the set. They're recorded later on in the studio. In one scene, the father, who was a butcher and owned a meat shop, had his kids crawl through the meat case to help prepare them for war, have them crawl like a soldier in a war zone. So I approached the sound for that by taking objects and kind of dumping it into a bucket of really wet drywall mix, and then I mixed in some light suction sounds along with it. I didn't win any Academy Awards. In 1991, my wife Stacy and I decided to move to Seattle. We chose Seattle at the time because it was rated the best city to live in. It had a film scene going on here. There was some good film production, and you could buy a house with a yard, and that's just unheard of on the East Coast. There is no yard with a house. They also had 2 bus routes with bike racks, and that didn't exist in New York at all. When I arrived here, though, we found that doing sound for film was really difficult. I didn't have any clients that I brought with me, so I started doing audio production for radio shows. And the most popular radio show that I worked on was for the sex advice columnist Dan Savage. He's a writer in The Stranger. He had a radio show on KCMU, and I was the engineer for 3 years on that production for the entirety of the show. Then we started having children, and I thought, well, this lifestyle is a little hard. There's not a lot of pay, hours are infrequent, no health insurance, so I got myself a real job, and I could support the family better. I was working Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, vacations, paid vacations, health insurance. But as our kids got older, we were able to get back into watching films, and we went to the Seattle International Film Festival, which is the nation's largest film festival. It goes for about 5 or 6 weeks here. And we started each year going to more and more movies. The last couple of years, I've been volunteering at the SIF Film Festival and been meeting some filmmakers, and that's been a great experience for me. I've really enjoyed that. Well, last month, my youngest son applied to go to the University of Texas down in Austin, and he's applying to become a filmmaker, and Stacy and I couldn't be more proud. Thank you.